Take a look at this. This is not the first time the Tejas has hit turbulence. In March 2024, one crashed near Jaisalmer because of an oil pump failure. In November 2025, another went down during an aerobatic display in Dubai, and the pilot lost his life. Behind these particular incidents lies a longer story of production bottlenecks. The Tejas still depends on imported GE F404 engines, and delays in their supply have of course slowed deliveries. Everybody knows it. HAL can build only 16 to 25 aircraft a year whilst also handling other projects. The upgraded Mk1A version, which the IAF has ordered in large numbers, is already nearly 2 years behind schedule. And at the same time, India faces pressure on two fronts as China and Pakistan modernize their air forces. The Indian Air Force is operating with only 29 to 31 squadrons against the sanctioned strength of 42. The additional Rafale jets will take years to arrive, and the advanced AMCA fighter is still many years away. In this situation, the Tejas Mk1A was meant to be the bridge. Its delays are now widening the gap in our air defense. An esteemed set of panelists with us on the broadcast, and the big questions that we're trying to decode. If the incident was minor, quote unquote, why has the Indian Air Force taken the significant step of grounding the entire operational Mk1 fleet for technical scrutiny? With a production limit of 16 to 24 aircraft annually and a massive order book, is the manufacturer overstretched by trying to manage upgrades, helicopters, new fighter variants, all of this happening simultaneously? How long can India tolerate repeated technical setbacks in its most important indigenous fighter program? With us on the broadcast, Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava, defense expert. Many thanks for taking out the time. Group Captain D.K. Pandey, Senior Fellow, Center for Aerospace, Power and Strategic Studies, with us on the broadcast. Many thanks, Group Captain. Group Captain U.K. Devnath, defense expert, also with us on the broadcast. You know, Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava, let me begin with you. Some of those big questions that we pointed out as well. If this was in fact a minor defect, why did the Indian Air Force ground the entire fleet? And from a technical standpoint, does a fleet-wide grounding indicate precaution, or is this possible systemic concern? For the layman out there, how should they view this now?
Yeah, Kabir, first of all, I must start with, you quoted 3 accidents. All of them fall in 3 different categories. They are not in the same category. They are different kinds of accidents. So they should not be clubbed together and given a picture that there were 3 accidents. Maybe a viewer can carry the impression it's of the similar type, same thing happened. Coming to this particular incident, I'm very amazed about this minor word which has been quoted by the HL, because if an aircraft by definition is rendered Cat-E, that aerostructure cannot be reused, it is off the list. One aircraft is less in the squadron, it is always called a major accident, Cat-A accident. So by that, the definition is not right. If they are trying to say that they had a great safety record till the time they came to final operational clearance, and Tejas was deemed to be a very safe aircraft, indigenously built. For that indigenous trajectory, we are of course with HAL, with the country is with the HAL, that we know that through lessons we learn from all the conflicts which are going on in global context, that if you're not indigenous, your supply chain will be choked during the times of needs. So idea is we must carry on the indigenous. There is some problem which has happened with the brake system.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a fortunate thing, but in a way that we can correct, the brake system is completely indigenous. The brake management system, which is integrated electronic controller is there, plus the anti-skid system, all that combined is runs through a software. So that has to be all right for this aircraft to land, to brake down correctly, and there's a parachute also, and decelerate in a way that it remains on the disc. But if anti-skid system fails, the tire burst is a natural phenomena, is a consequence of that. So we can now, since in public domain, I don't find any mention of weather conditions there, any mention of the pilot who was involved, in the sense we can make out what kind of training pattern the pilot had. We don't have any information about which was the base. We can conjecture something since forward base is given. so we can know what are the limitations of the base. So we have several things unknown to us. But in the meantime, let me tell you, if we have to ground, whenever we go for, we find something is such that it will affect whole of the fleet. There are 30 aircraft.
Yeah.
Then we will go. We have gone earlier also. We'll go for grounding of the aircraft, getting the technical audit data on all aircraft. And if there's a modification worked out, we'll do that modification, so that thereafter the aircraft is, improved from that pattern. And we have done this job n number of times in the Indian Air Force.
Okay.
I've been myself chief engineering officer of Kalaikunda. I have been base commander of a repair depot. So I know this happens. Aviation is that way, is a very, very risky way. That's why we grant our fighter pilots so much of honor and grace.
Vice Marshal Srivastava, if I could come in, my apologies for interjecting. And my apologies again for cherry picking one concern that you highlighted, that HAL said that this was a minor incident, which you think is actually not minor, right? That's
not
what
minor.
It's not minor.
They should not look at it from that prism. That means if they think it's minor, they will go in a minor way. You have to understand that you lost an aircraft. An aircraft is a very costly resource.
Absolutely.
We are not able to build the next level of aircraft, the Mk1A, and you lose from the inventory. You lost already 2 of them, 3 in total. You can't afford to lose aircraft at that rate. So how can HAL, the manufacturer, the OEM, say that this is not minor? This gives a wrong impression to the community.
But the stocks have fallen, Air Vice Marshal. The stocks have fallen. Maybe some sort of correction of the markets through words over there on that front. I'm still a layman on that, on the aerospace engineering front, not the final authority in any case. But you've highlighted a very crucial point. Many thanks for your opening submissions and eloquently putting it out for the viewers. Group Captain Pandey, HAL says this was not a crash, but a minor ground incident. Can you clarify the technical distinction for the viewers per se? Why would the HAL say that this was a minor crash when Air Vice Marshal here is, reiterated that it's actually not a minor incident?
Basically, if you see the total incident, it happened in the last phase of the operations. The mission was there. Aircraft was about to landing, and it was about to go for the final parking. Now, why it is HAL is calling minor? Because when aircraft is moving in operation, like Dubai incident, we all remember how things were happening. Horrible. So incident. Negative G effect and all those things we were all discussing. So that if something goes wrong in that condition, definitely it is something alarming. That clearly indicates that there is some computer malfunction or some engine issue which is there, which needs to be analyzed. But now whole mission is over, and now at the fringes of the operation it is happening. So this may be the reason, although I'm not ruling out the basic problem. So the best is, if when you are confused, you are not very clear about the reason of the accident or incident. So what is the best approach? Let's do the full analysis, see, validate the various issues, and revise should there be a requirement of putting in a design change or not. But as far as the design is concerned, I doubt if something is wrong, because more than 23 years of history, first incident took place in Jaisalmer. So 23 years of project, that shows the design issue is, I don't think design is the issue where, because why I'm trying to say this, the reason is that people should not doubt the aircraft, because that is a huge dent on our project, number one. Number two, definitely grounding doesn't mean there is some major issue. That's why we are doing F-35 in last 7 years. F-35, the most advanced sophisticated aircraft, they have faced 11 crashes. That doesn't mean that aircraft is a poor quality. That doesn't mean that aircraft performance is inferior. So there are various factors. In aeronautical environment, things have to be seen in correct perspective. That's why court inquiry is ordered. And court inquiry, it is not only one. The technical member is not the member only. All dimension, all domains representatives are there, so that it a comprehensive, in-depth, critical analysis is done. And finally, your reason you establish. One more point. 3 accidents, 3 different reasons. If repetition of the reason is there, then definitely it creates doubt in our mind. There is a problem which is there. So, but grounding is a precautionary measure. I don't think the grounding fleet doesn't mean there's a major issue, as far as my experience goes. Now, but having said this, doesn't mean that we should take lightly what Srivastava sir is saying. That is right. If you say taking it lightly, then your approach in analysis will maybe light, and you won't be able to do the justice with the total process. So that we have to guard against it.
Okay, Group Captain Pandey, point taken, point conceded. Okay, three, different accidents, three different absolutely reasons for that. But are these three cases, Group Captain Devnath, why don't you come in on this? These three reasons, these three accidents that have taken place in the last 3 years, is this within acceptable global fighter development norms? Does it signal reliability stress? I mean, I'm bound to ask these questions. When the Indian Air Force grounds an entire fleet, Air Vice Marshal Srivastav said, Group Captain Pandey has also said that, it's precautionary, but what does that mean for operational deployment in real terms? We already know we're down to 29 to 31 squadrons, and that's way below the sanctioned strength in any case.
Definitely. First of all, I must clarify that when we ground a fleet, it does not mean that the aircraft is withdrawn from operational service. It just means that routine training flight missions are held for some time.
Yeah.
The aircraft remains operationally deployable. That means if required, they can be deployed with air-to-air missile, air-to-ground weapon systems within next 5 minutes.
Okay.
The aircraft is totally serviceable. All the fleet is totally serviceable. All that happens that one by one the aircraft is inducted into repair bay, where thorough check is carried out for the suspected malfunction of that component or that assembly or sub-assembly. Next, definitely the court of inquiry will find out the cause very soon. Court of inquiry, there will be a flying member. Usually they are the presiding officers. There will be a technical member from Indian Air Force. HL also provides a very, very clueful, seasoned veteran engineer for helping in investigation.
Okay.
Most important in this case, a scientist or engineer from ADA, Aeronautical Development Agency, will be there to see what could have gone wrong technically. Now, since I was myself a pilot, I will own up that in all air forces, Indian Air Force also, about 1/3 of the accidents are due to human error pilot. So it is not necessary that all the accidents in any air force or any aircraft are due to technical failure, maintenance problems, or engineering design defect. Often say 30 to 40% of the accidents are due to human error pilot. I must tell the people what exactly it means. It means the pilot is well trained or he is under training, but at that moment for few seconds he misjudged something. Like sometimes it may happen, not exactly that it happened in this case. Sometimes a pilot may touch down a little late on the runway.
Okay.
The pilot, when he comes in for landing, he is required to touch down at the beginning of the runway. But even seasoned veteran pilots sometimes, due to 2-3 second misjudgment, may touch down a little late on runway.
Okay.
After touchdown, when they lower their nose, they are supposed to deploy their tail chute. Now, sometimes the tail chute may get deployed due to some reason, including pilot's own delay in pressing the tail chute button by 1 or 2 seconds. Remember, the aircraft has touched down at 240 kilometers speed. It is rapidly hurling towards the end of the runway.
Yeah.
Thereafter, pilot, when he lowers the nose on the runway, he starts applying brake. He is supposed to apply the brake gradually, increasing the pressure. That means he goes to first stage of brake, second stage of brake. It takes time, but sometimes it may happen that he may suddenly
I understand, Group Captain. It's all split second, and many thanks for raising that particular point as well. About 1 in 3 accidents being at the cost of human error or pilot error. That is a significant point. But what I've picked up so far is that a grounding of the entire fleet does not mean that it's inoperable. It can be, brought into action in about 5 minutes. That's what Group Captain Devnath just told us. With the missile systems all activated, in 5 minutes it could all be, the entire fleet could be up in air. The other thing that we picked up is that these are 3 past cases over the past 3 years about 3 different issues. So let's not categorize them in the same, domain, which we've not. We've actually pointed out that it was a fuel pump issue, the aerobatics, and, this particular brake fail issue as well. But, Air Vice Marshal Srivastav, I must again come back to the supply chain and the delivery mechanism, because in the introduction, and you can call us out if this is wrong, HAL seems to have a lot of pressure on themselves. So how much of the current challenge is platform maturity? We know that, you know, the GE 404 engine is a bit of a problem. The delivery of the engine is a bit of a problem. There are delays. The squadron strength has gone down. But then talk about the pressure on HAL as well. The platform maturity versus supply chain constraints, particularly the GE 404 engine. How do you look at this? The pure burden on HAL in the first place?
See, I'll have to, Kabir, I'll have to contrast with the ability of our country to make a combat aircraft of our own.
Okay.
That's a great achievement, and you have to write the trajectory.
No, you're absolutely right, sir.
You have to go on a trajectory, and no country in the world produces a fighter aircraft, whether it's US or it's Europe or China. They all produce through the supply chain management.
Yep.
There's no time to define how it happens. So parts will come from other countries, and for geopolitical reasons or for other reasons of contracting, the countries may slow the supply down. That's where you choose your allies, you choose your partners carefully. But this aero structure is constructed around G engine. So it will have to depend upon the G engine. And that's this flow into the country is a matter of geopolitical issue.
You're right.
Or the company's ability to produce as many engines, which I think more onto the geopolitical side.
You're right, Air Vice Marshal. I'm again just a quick disclaimer for all the viewers and for you know, all the gentlemen on the panel as well. It's not about doubting India's capability, not one bit. It's about strengthening it, which is why we're having this discourse.
So, Kabir, can I come in?
Yeah.
As far as the brake system is concerned, which is in focus in this case, a carbon disc is manufactured in India. That electronic processor is Indian. What we call brake management system. There's a pulsing gun. The brake applies and then releases, releases, because that is the way you manage the heat, you manage the braking ability.
Fair enough.
There is a preset lever, which is preset to high, medium, low, depending on as the pilot is coming. So as rightly Grupi Devnath has pointed out, that there are many people involved in the whole chain of occurrence. So when we do the CODA inquiry, we do that. And coming to this part, are these aircraft operational? If the balloon goes up, let's say today, this evening, they are operational because all checks are done. There's a built-in system. You'll be happy to note that there's a built-in system which checks your all systems for brake also before the start of the flying and pre-flight checks. So there is a robust system in place, but however robust the system is, when something happens, you have a good look at it. And the grounding is a phenomena to say don't fly, so we know where it is.
Yeah,
and then
enough.
All technical chaps go into it, and they do the technical audit. So sometimes there'll be a small modification suggested that will go into the system, or some other times it will be checked and say, okay, it's fine. So this is what will go on in our hangars, and it's all done together. It's not that it'll be held up. There are two squadrons, they'll have their own hangars, and one by one, as Grupi Devnath pointed out, we have known the mechanism there very well.
Yeah.
They'll be inducted. And it will not be a check which will hold the whole aircraft fleet for a very long time. I presume so. So when HL classifies it as a minor accident, what was my opposition to that? That the aircraft has been rendered Cat E. This aerostructure cannot be reused. So by definition, what we have in our accidents, either it is fatal or it is the aircraft has got categorized as E. We classify this as accident category as A. So that's where it is a thing where we have to see what happened, because
certainly not minor. And
No,
you know, you've nicely helped us explain the braking system over here as well, because needless to say, it needs to be a complex braking system when you're coming down at 240 kilometers per hour, just like one of the group captains here mentioned. I'm completely running out of time here. Let me go across the board once again. You know, Group Captain Pandey, help the viewers understand. Please exercise brevity. I need to go to Group Captain Devnath as well. What about the HAL's burden? They're doing so many other projects as well. What's your viewpoint on that? I mean, when you talk about balancing operational urgency with long-term indigenous capability building, which will succeed and in good time, but what happens to HAL's other burden right now? Is that a problem?
Definitely. That is one of the issue. But point is, why you accepted the task? if you are having really issues of resources are limited or HR issues are there, then don't accept. Please come out with your problems and declare it. Why you are not announcing it? So that solution can be given. The point is, until you know the problem, you diagnose the problem properly, then only solution will be there. Medicine can be given by doctor only once he knows what is the disease. But HL is refraining themselves. What is the reason? Best known to them. Now, second point is, now incident of this nature where things have to be taken care for a long period, it is very, very vital for them to see so that future design or as well as their assembly process is concerned. If something is wrong in that, it should not be addressed. Now, one more point. This is the first incident where braking system has been addressed. So it means when day-to-day operations are going on, they never faced such problem. And the system was okay. So saying like Sachin Tendulkar, he makes centuries, but a number of times he has scored 0 also. So we cannot say that if one incident is there, so it is common to all the fleet.
That's a great analogy,
is one of the process, which is very healthy sign. I will say this is a very good decision. Only the comment is it should be taken in very, very serious and in a manner which really is productive in nature, and because it affects the credibility of the aircraft in the global market.
I think the viewers might think that we're, doubting India's capability too much. Let's talk on the positive note about Tejas as well. Group Captain Devnath, how critical are Tejas squadrons in our front line today? The air defense, the maritime strike capability, the point precision. Let's talk a little bit about the Tejas in good light as well.
Oh, very, very highly effective light combat aircraft for bang for money. I think it is the best aircraft in the world. Most important is all our young pilots, when they come out of training academies, they look forward to flying Tejas. Yes.
All right, everybody's looking to fly the Tejas. I said it right in the beginning. Tonight's debate was not about doubting India's capability. It was about strengthening it. Many thanks to Group Captain Devnath, Group Captain Pandey, Air Vice Marshal Srivastava for taking out the time and bringing us up to speed with what they think about the Tejas and the entire fleet's grounding. The Tejas program is more than just an aircraft. It's a symbol of India's push for self-reliance in defense. But pride cannot replace performance. Confidence cannot substitute scrutiny. A fleet grounding, delivery delays, and a widening squadron gap. In a region where air superiority, we've been talking about China and Pakistan, defines deterrence, operational readiness is not optional, it is existential. We'll leave you with that thought. That's all the time we have for you in this edition of In Your Interest. Top developments right on the other side. Keep it with News9. Love, lies, and a live-in nightmare.
A dating app match shocking the entire nation.
Tripura teen brutalized. Teen's private parts torched.
सैनिटाइजर देके प्राइवेट पार्ट्स दिन में 3 बार जला दिया 3 दिन लगातार.
3 days of brutality inside Gurugram flat. Chilling details of survivor account on News9.
Police say her live-in partner, also 19 years of age, allegedly locked her inside a paying guest or PG accommodation.
From dating app to deadly violence, News9 investigates. Justice for Tripura teen. No spin, no silence, just facts. Only on News9.
Hi, hello, namaste. Kuzuzangpo. इस वक्त मैं हूँ गांगते मोनेस्ट्री में। इन खूबसूरत वादियों को देखकर मुझे हमारी बॉलीवुड की एक फिल्म याद आ रही है। तब कुछ लोगों ने विराट और अनुष्का को पहचाना।
When President Donald Trump compared a potential military move against Iran to the swift US operation in Venezuela earlier this year, experts quickly warned that the comparison may be misleading. Unlike the rapid raid that removed President Nicolas Maduro in capital Caracas, Iran presents a far more complex military and geopolitical challenge. Tehran commands one of the Middle East's largest missile arsenals, including